Hi, I'm Sheila Patten, and I'm doing my presentation on Orton Gillingham. And just a little background, I got interested in Orton Gillingham about 3 years ago because my daughter has dyslexia, and she actually was diagnosed when she was in 2nd grade, but I didn't take Orton until she was in 5th grade because I didn't find out about it. And I found out about it through Groves Academy. They sponsor a lot of events on dyslexia. So if anyone would like to take the class, go on the Groves Academy website and there'll be some information. Okay, so Orton Gillingham's approach for teaching reading. Orton Gillingham is a phonetic, rule-based, structured, multi-sensory, systematic, and cumulative program. So all of those things are important. About 20% of the general population has a reading disability, and about 85% of those people have dyslexia. Just a side note, dyslexia isn't diagnosed by the schools. It has to be a medical diagnosis. So schools don't talk about it at all. They don't use the word dyslexia because if they use the word dyslexia, then the school would have to pay for the testing. If they say, oh, your child has dyslexia, you should have her tested, the school would have to pay it. So they never say the word dyslexia. And the teachers that I work with don't really understand what dyslexia is. Okay. Samuel T. Orton lived from 1879 to 1948. He was a scientist, an educator, a neuropathologist, a neurologist, a psychiatrist, graduated from both Harvard and Columbia Medical School. And he studied with Dr. Alzheimer in West Germany for a while. Dr. Orton was interested in people who had word blindness. In 1928, way back then, he called it a specific language disability. So you can see how far back he was a pioneer in this field. In 1931, he collaborated with Anna Gillingham, who was a psychologist, and she helped organize his materials for teaching. A key point is that the instruction must involve simultaneous association of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic language stimuli. So the student has to hear the word, say the word, and feel the word. They use all three senses. Marcia Henry, who was a PhD and president of the International Dyslexia Association, which was formerly called the Orton Dyslexia Association, says that there is an instructional dysfunction called dystechia that occurs because so many teachers are ill-prepared to teach reading. Okay, so now we're going to get into the specifics of the Orton Gillingham lesson. So when you first get a student, you would first assess the student using, he would read the word on a word list for you, and you would score whether you got it right or not. And then he would do a spelling test for you. He also would say the alphabet and write the lowercase alphabet, and then the spelling test is an age-appropriate one. All right. The equipment that you need is the word pack, or the letter pack. That is the basic thing that you need. Then you need the letter list. This tells, it's divided into 5 sections, and you number your cards according to this list, and you teach it systematically from the beginning to the end, and this is like way skilled. The early readers just do these 2 lists, and then you don't go on until they master it, and then you go back and review it, and each lesson, it's very repetitive. This is the lesson plan that we used, and I'll give you each a copy of that on Blackboard. Okay, so the lesson for your student takes about an hour. And so first you read your card pack. You give them the cards, and they have to tell you the sounds of each letter or the digraph. And then you say them, and they have to, you have so many you put down here each week. And then you say them, and he writes them. And by the way, twice a week is the minimum a student should be tutored. Every day would be fine, but twice a week is the minimum. Okay, then you read the word lists, and you have several word books, and you pick out the words that you're working on, the sounds that you're working on from these many word books that you pick up. These are the Sunday ones. These are mega words and angling. This is a Gillingham manual that we got. And this is a CD. It's actually the Sunday system, and it tells all the different sounds. This is a book that goes with the card pack and tells you how to use the card pack. But they're basically just letter cards, and they follow the order of this list. The important thing is for you to know, the teacher to know, how they're pronounced. A common mispronounced letter is R, and all the teachers say for R, but R does not say unless it's ER, UR, or IR. R says R. Anyways, that's one that everyone gets wrong. All right. Okay, after the student reads the word list, then you have all your sounds that you're working on here, and they change every lesson. You add some and you review some, and you write words using that. Say you had AY here, then you would have like say, pay, hey. Of course you would do harder ones too. Okay, after you do all those, so they have to write all these words. It takes a long time. And then after you're done, they have to read the words back to you, and that's a very important part of the lesson that I used to forget all the time, but it's very important that they read their own writing back to you. It helps reinforce it. Then you give them 3 sentences that they have to write out, and you focus on capitalization, periods at the end, misspellings. All right. And then you introduce either a new rule or a red word, which is a sight word. And then you read examples of them, and then they have to use it in spelling. When we went to school, we learned by the whole reading method, and we didn't do phonics. So we learned actually very few rules. I before E, except after C, and it's about the only rule I remember. But there are a lot of rules in the English language. And for instance, one would be at the end of a syllable. Okay, so you have like luck, the word luck. The child doesn't know if it's a K or a C or a CK. The rule is at the end of a syllable, after a short vowel, you use CK. At the end of a word, after one short vowel, CK. That's the rule. That's one of the first rules that we teach. All right, and then after you're done with all that, then you read. You have books for them, level books, and they pick one, and then you have them read to you for about 20 minutes. If they get the words, if they misread the words, then what you do is, using your carpeting or salt tray, you have them spell it out on the tray, like say. You have them write it, and that gives them the kinesthetic effect of, so they say the word, and they hear the word, they say the word, and they write the word, and they feel it. Let's see, I just thought of something I forgot to tell you. Oh yeah, the early learners finger spell the different sounds of a word. So you could say hat. Spell hat for me, and they have to finger spell it, the sounds. H, A, T, T. And this is very important for the young beginning readers. I took 2 courses in Gillingham. We used finger spelling for the first course, but not for the second course, because those were the older readers. The second course gets into the more the two-letter sounds. Also vowel cards. The kids make up vowel cards. They decorate them. My daughter didn't decorate this very good. She didn't color them or anything, but they make pictures based on the short sound that the vowel makes, like A, apple, E, elephant, U, umbrella, and they always have these for reference. You do teach the kids the short vowels and the long vowels. So like if you're doing your card pack in A, what's the first sound of A? The student will say A. Then you'll say, does A have a second sound? And the student will say A. And that's with all the vowels, you do that. And also when you get into like the double vowels that have different, like some of them have several different pronunciations, you do, but they're in order. Okay, anyways, that about wraps it up. If anyone has any questions, talk to me about it. If you need, if you want to take a class. Arlene Sande teaches it, and her daughter Karen Sande teaches it. Karen's a teacher at Hamlin University. And anyways, that's it. Thanks.